Let's talk about bias in studies and definitions. A study conducted by a procedure that produces the correct result on the average is said to be unbiased. On the other hand, a study conducted by a procedure that tends to overestimate or underestimate the true value is said to be biased. Now, sources of bias. Voluntary response bias. Maybe I call in to a radio station when they're talking about a war in some other country. I got very strong opinions about it. And by me submitting my opinion, my poll survey that's done by a radio station, I'm making it look like people are either for or against the war based upon what I say. So a lot of times when you got voluntary response, instead of a true randomness, you'll get people that want it swayed one way or the other. Self-interest bias. This right here, a lot of places have a self-interest in the results appearing a certain way. Maybe I'm trying to sell my online homework platform. I don't necessarily want to report on the results other platforms are having because maybe mine's the worst. So I really focus on mine and I show the successes I have in mine. And so I got self-interest in making my product look better. Never mind that the other products are even better than mine. I'm focusing my statistics specifically on mine, so I'm kind of messing with the results. Social responsibility bias. The book gives an example of a person asking you if you voted. Well, if you say no, it makes you feel like you failed in your civic responsibility. So social responsibility can sometimes, again, bias the results. Leading question bias. Again, instead of asking the question in a way that doesn't really say whether it's good or bad or getting you to think along a certain way, this leads you into answering a certain way. Maybe you're asking people if they attend church. Maybe your leading question is, do you consider yourself a good person that goes to church? That's a very extreme example, but that would imply that if you don't go to church, you're a bad person, and that's not true at all. So again, by really messing with the question and trying to put too much leading into it, then you can get bad results. Because who wants to admit they're based upon what the question is implying? Who wants to admit that they're a bad person? Don't go to church. Again, I'm not saying that's one way or the other, just the way that question's worded. Non-response bias. This can occur in many different ways. Sometimes it's hard to get a response from people. They just won't respond. You can offer them free incentives, and they still won't respond. So the people do respond sometimes have very strong opinions. So those ones you get. And sampling bias. Obviously, if you look at the different ways of collecting the sample, you can have a lot of different ways. And we've talked about this in past lessons, but there's a lot of different ways you can have that messed up. The important part in this lesson is when you're looking at the particular problems, particular homework problems, is not that you can just sit there and put a label on it, but that you really analyze what is wrong with this, if anything. How did they gather the data? Is there anything biased about it? Whether they meant to or not. If your data is biased, then your results might be garbage. So again, a lot of the problems are looking for, like, is it a voluntary, is it a self-interest, but it's more of truly analyzing what's wrong with it. Maybe how you change it. How would you fix it? If it is screwed up, how would you have done it correct the first time?